Today's date is April 20th, 2013, and the time is 8:12 a.m. And my name is Leslie Williams. I'm a citizen of the state of California and a resident of San Diego County. And I'm making this video in order to inform the public concerning the crimes that are happening towards me in San Diego County and in the state of California. And this crime has got a name to it. It's called, excuse me, I just woke up, so I gotta kind of fix my hair. The name of this crime is called organized stalking and gang stalking. It's not stalking by gangs. What it is it's nothing but crafted, organized harassment that is perpetrated by the government. Excuse me, please. Now, in order to get a grasp concerning what this crime is about, pardon me, please, you can go to Google and YouTube and extensively research gang stalking or organized stalking. It's also called cause stalking, revenge stalking, and so on and so forth. And I have already undeniably proved that I am a victim of this crime concerning the state of California and how it's been perpetrated towards me on a daily basis along all of my routes ever since I came back to San Diego and California, which is obviously San Diego is in California, since August 8, 2011, for the very first time since 2006, when I was out here between 1 and 37 days in 2006. I hadn't been back to California since, or San Diego since 2006. I arrived back on August 8, 2011 for the first time since the calendar year of 2006 when I was out here between 1 and 37 days. So how did they know I came back out here? Because I was gang stalked to here from another state. Hold on a second, please. Organized stalking and gang stalking is nothing but organized crime that's in the system in the United States, in every state. And if you research extensively gang stalking and organized stalking online, you'll come to understand the factual realities that citizens in the U.S. are being gang stalked in every state. And the same methods and templates of methods and tactics are utilized towards them in every state concerning every target. Please excuse me for a second. I'm having my morning cigarette and I apologize for smoking. The reason why I'm making this video is because you would not believe the crimes that have happened to me and my fellow targets. We're talking about crimes that once I start naming them, you're going to think to yourself, what is this woman talking about? How can these kind of crimes be expedited by the government and protected by them? Well, and that's the reason why I make my videos, so you can take what I state and research the information. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a template of reference so you can understand something concerning these crimes and how they're brought about in part. Go to Google and type in a gang stalking tech, everything you need to know. It's a manifesto of a manager of organized gang stalking crews. He went offline, typed in who they are, who they're connected to, and how they operate in part. He then went to an internet cafe and posted it on the internet, and it spread like wildfire. Excuse me, please. In this manifesto, it flat out states he's a nationwide syndicate. I mean, what he is involved in is a nationwide syndicate. And basically what they do is when a target goes to move from one state to the next, they just basically notify the syndicate in the state the target's going into to take over in the campaign towards the target. They share the information that's already happened concerning what's already happened to a target, the technologies that have been used against the target, and the target's psychological profile, their financial standing, what's been done to a target, and so on and so forth. So the same type of harassment and technological resources can be utilized against the target in the state the target's going into. And it flat out states it in the manifesto that they literally paid the syndicate in the state the target's going into to take over in the campaign towards the target. Now, over time, I have discovered, see, what you got to understand here is I'm a grown woman. I used to be married. I'm not going to mention my age in this video, because these criminal syndicates that are in the system that are directly connected to the organized crime that's in the street and how they got power positions in the community to influence churches, charities, homeless shelters, self-help groups, non-profit organizations, any level of government like social services, even social security offices. Excuse me, please. It's organized crime in the system at the federal and state level. And they do have syndicated members in the military as well. Now, if you're just hearing about this kind of crime for the first time, The only way that you're going to be able to get your mind around this, to see the factual realities concerning what I describe, is to investigate. And when you do, you will see every statement that I'm making in this video is the absolute literal truth. Now, the reason why they knew I was coming to California is because I made certain blogs online, and I did research in a library in Connecticut. I went from Michigan to Connecticut because I was going to try and hook up with the individual who runs the Freedom Fighters for America's webpage. I looked him up in Michigan. I even talked to him by phone and by email, and he even mentioned me on one of his radio broadcasts. I think it was in anywhere between, it was between October and January, October 2010 and January 2011, and his radio broadcasts are online, so you can go back and listen to them. He says, this is in reference to a Mrs. Williams in Michigan. I did receive your communication or your email. I got it. And then he went on to, broadcast his radio broadcast. And I was looking his information up at the library at U of M in Dearborn, Michigan. Go to YouTube and type in U of M torture. You'll literally catch me. You'll literally observe a video of me catching an organized stalker, an individual used to engage in organized stalking against me in their library. I literally caught him on video in the act. And then right below that is a video of me going to complain to campus safety, and you can pretty much witness how much they cared about it. Now, so I went to Connecticut from Michigan, and it turned out to be, I was gang stalked in Connecticut like you would not believe. And so I ended up coming to California because I just scrutinized that the campaign. See, the individual that was running Freedom Fighters for America, he lived in, I think, Ridgefield, Connecticut, and you couldn't take, they didn't have any bus services to get out to Ridgefield. That's why I went to Stanford. Excuse me. So between trying to take care of myself and the criminal expeditions that were happening towards me in Connecticut, I just realized that it was getting to be too heated in Connecticut for me to stay there. I had to start looking forward, because I had a Social Security review coming up, and I had to be situated in a state to where I could comfortably camp out and hike, and purchase a P.O. box in time, so when those review papers started coming to me, I would be situated in a hiking area and be able to get those review papers and then take care of that whole situation when it came to Social Security in case they attempted to take me off of it. So I came back to California because you can camp out in California because of the weather. And I've been gang stalked on a feverish scale every single day along all of my routes. Now, I have made it a point and a reference point in my mind, which I have stuck to on a daily basis ever since I arrived back here on August 8, 2011, up to this date, April 20th, 2013, to not get connected with no one, not one person. Because I knew that these individuals engage in what is known as intimate infiltration, where they'll literally try, if you're a man, they'll put a woman in your life to get intimately involved with you. If you're a woman, they'll put a man in your life to get intimately involved with you. My ex-husband was connected to these expeditions and did not know it. He was arranged and put in my life for me to meet, date, and marry for trauma purposes. And you can go to Google and type in gang stalking or organized stalking and intimate infiltration, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I came out to California on August 8, 2011, one day late in reference to the scheduled arrival, because of bus terminal layovers and delays on Route 2 here. And I was gang stalked on the Greyhound bus coming to here. In fact, one of the individuals that they placed on one of the connecting routes to come here was one of the same individuals they used in 2006. I recognized her. She was gaslighting me. I took a picture of her, and then 2 days after I got here, I was looking through those videos and I recognized her. Yeah. So, see, when you look at, now I have undisputable proof that I'm a victim of this crime. Undisputable proof. People literally admitting, see, I wear a digital tape recorder attached to my undergarments on my chest with the microphone that's right at the very top, and the microphone rests at right below the collar of my shirt. So it picks up any harassment that I experience along my routes, if it's direct conversation methods of gang stalking expeditions. And I have literally caught 2 individuals separated by, one was caught on January 28, 2012, and the other one was caught on February 20th, 2013, admitting to me, they didn't know I had a tape recorder on me, that they were put in the areas that I was already in to engage in gang stalking towards me. Literally flat out caught it, and one of them admitted that a San Diego police officer put him there. Literally. Now, and then that's not including all the direct conversation methods that I have caught after they were predicted in environments that I was at. When I wake up in the morning, I'll make a video prediction file about what I'll experience along my routes. I'll take a video picture of my cell phone which shows the date and the time, like I showed you at the beginning of this video. And then I'll state where I'm going for the day and the transportation routes I'll take to get there. And then I state, let's see if I hear gang stalking, gang stalking, gang stalking, oh my god, gang stalking, gang stalking, gang stalking, set along any of my routes in reference to where I state I'm going and the transportation routes getting there. And this digital tape recorder is running on full power batteries at all time, okay? And I also make predictions in this audio file as well. And then when I get to those places, including the transportation routes getting there, if it is said around me and caught, the digital tape recorder will pick it up. And this digital tape recorder reflects the date and the time. And since the prediction was made at one time on the same date, and then the tactic is caught later on in the date, which will reflect a later time in the digital tape recorder, it will show that I was stalked to these places in order to put this organized harassment around me. And that's why I make the video predictions. Now, right now in my possession, I have multiple digital tape recorders, which hold in combination over 500 audio files of the same tactic being used around me. They're literally getting around me and saying gang stalking, gang stalker, gang stalking, gang stalking, oh my god, gang stalking, constantly and repeatedly along all of my routes to make me feel victimized concerning getting around me and literally naming the name of the crime that's happening to me, gang stalking, to remind me that I'm a target of this crime, to keep me mentally preoccupied that I am of the fact that I am a victim of this crime, and to taunt me about it, okay? Now, there's no way in hell that people can be knowing my travel routes unless I was being surveilled and monitored. And if you went to YouTube and typed in snooper technology, you'll be able, and then type in gang stalking, you can YouTube and Google that phrase, you'll clearly be able to see that they can use a target's cell phone as a GPS tracker, they can hack into the camera on your phone, and they can use the speaker on the phone that you use to talk into when you're making a phone call and you're talking on the phone. You know, the speaker that I'm tapping right now, they can hack into your phone and use it as a microphone. Yeah, and since I make audio prediction files concerning where I'm going for the day and video prediction files at this location where I'm going for the day, is this how they're able to craft and stage the organized harassment? In other words, the people they solicit for the day to be along the routes I state I'm going to in order to be able to utilize this crafted harassment around me. I'm talking about people that are already on the bus before I get on it to say these things. How do they know to put these people on these bus routes and in restaurants? Yeah, that I go into, even restaurants that I've never went into before. In that, like, say, since I've been in California, San Diego, I've been into restaurants that I frequent every time I'm in that specific area. Then when I'm going into a new area, like to go maybe to a library for the first time, that's in that area, I'll go there, and in fact, case in point, let's see, what date was it? I think it was November 17th, 2013, November 17th, 2012, I got on bus route 30. And as I was on the bus, I cleverly and creatively and extremely discreetly bent my head over, covered my mouth up so I could make a statement in my digital tape recorder that was attached to my undergarments, like this. And then I covered up my mouth, leaned my head down, and made a discreet statement in my digital tape recorder. Let's see if I hear gang stalking on this bus route 30. Then it was said on the bus, I'm pretty sure it was said on the bus, I haven't listened to that whole audio file. But listen to this, I then was on that bus for about 40 minutes and got off the bus. And then I walked directly across the street, locked up my bike in front of a cafe that I had never been into in my entire life, locked up my bike, had a cigarette, went into the cafe, and gang stalking was said multiple times around me and caught on digital audio file. Yes, in the way that I described in the way that I'm now describing that I'm hearing it, because back then I didn't notice they were also saying, oh my god, with the gang stalking, because they've also sensitized me to the word, oh my god. And basically what they do is hang on a second. See, what they do is sensitize targets to words or phrases. They're called direct, and then as a result of the tracking of the target, they get around the target and repeat the words and phrases that they sensitize the target to. It's a clever way to make a person feel stalked. So I can't get no help because this is organized crime in the system that is used in every business I go into, business employees, business management, security, to work in a tag teaming fashion with this harassment. Yes. Libraries, you would not believe how I've been gang stalked in libraries, on university campuses and public libraries. And since they're using this stalking and tracking in order to be able to craft the harassment at these places, and some of them being government buildings, you better believe that this is a power position in who is hosting and managing these expeditions. And you better believe that they're going to protect these places in reference to lawsuits, because it's conspiracy to harass, criminal intent to harass, malice aforethought to harass, surveillance, stalking, and harassment. All are felonies. When you conspire to commit a crime, even if it's a misdemeanor, it becomes a felony. My name is Leslie Williams, and so the government of California, because I've notified the state attorney, the attorney general, the district attorney, the internal affairs. I've notified everybody that you can think of. Well, just about. And no one has helped me or sent me back an email concerning this crime except the Citizens Review Board. And I don't trust them because of the simple fact of the type of people that are on their board. In fact, the Citizens Review Board, hang on a second, please. The Citizens Review Board has been in the San Diego Union Tribune newspaper as far as how they're at least corrupted as a result of being bullied by the Internal Affairs Department of the San Diego Police. Because that's what the, excuse me, pardon me please, that's what the Citizens Review Board is supposed to be about, is to be a place that people who have been victims of crime from law enforcement, of the San Diego Police or California Highway Patrol, I guess, they can go and file a complaint so the Citizens Review Board can review the complaint and then get to the heart of the matter. They've been in the paper concerning the corruption and the bullying of those members. Plus, I did some research back in 2012 in reference to some of the people who are on the Citizens Review Board, and one of them had a connection to UCSD, where I was gang stalked on a feverish scale by campus safety, students, and staff, including their biomedical library staff, where they staged harassment for me to experience on a non-stop basis every single time I went in their library. And since these expeditions are directly in part connected to non-consensual human experimentation, which UCSD has been, oh my God, you would not believe how they're involved in human experimentation, and mind control for human trafficking, because these expeditions have certain technological resources that are involved in the brain entrainment for human trafficking. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, go to Google and type in remote neural monitoring and human trafficking. I have right now in my backpack a class action lawsuit that I paid for from the website that's called Find a Case. Yes, I paid $8 for it. And it's concerning a class action lawsuit in Ohio concerning a bunch of people that got together to file a class action lawsuit in Ohio concerning how remote neural monitoring was used against them for human trafficking. And if you Google it, you'll find out that it's also being used in India for the same thing. Now, go to YouTube and type in Timothy W. Bioethics Issues and listen to that YouTube video. He talks about brain entrainment and neurocognitive weapons. That's the remote neural monitoring. Go to the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance and look on the bottom of their homepage. You'll see 3 PDF links for remote neural monitoring being one. There's also another individual by the name of Victoria Rose that lived here in Chula Vista, which is in San Diego County, who was subjected to electronic rapes and electronic torture as a result of remote neural monitoring. Then I got a book that I purchased off of Amazon titled Electronic Torture, Electronic Rape, Gang Stalking at the Post Office, written by a Jewel, and I forgot the last name. And what is described in that book by a totally separate individual in a separate state is exactly what Victoria Rose described in her documentation file that you can Google. Victoria Rose, California target, Chula Vista, San Diego County. Yeah, if you Google her, you'll find it. The same exact description. Targeted individuals like me and all my other targeted individuals have been covered on national radio shows, and Jesse Ventura did a show on us titled, you can YouTube this, Jesse Ventura, The Conspiracy Theory Show, True TV, The Brain Invaders. That's the neurocognitive weapons, the microwave auditory effect, which is the second PDF link, and remote neural monitoring. Even though remote neural monitoring, the microwave auditory effect, is not directly mentioned in that show, the microwave auditory effect and the directed energy weapons, which is the third PDF link, is what is described that is happening to these individuals on that show. Now, Robert Becker is covered on that show. He's an ex-CIA and DOD scientist who helped develop this technology. Robert Becker is on the show towards the end of the show. He flat out states we're being tortured, not abused, but tortured. Robert Becker is the first, you know how like when you read a book and at the end of the book it's either got an index, an appendix, or resources concerning what the book is about? Well, in the remote neural monitoring file that's at the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance, Robert Becker is the very first person mentioned in the resources, the appendix of the remote neural monitoring file. Go to YouTube and type in John Hall Satellite Terrorism and listen to everything concerning his videos. He clearly talks about remote neural monitoring and gang stalking. So targets of this crime cannot get no help. So let's see if I'm banned, harassed, or arrested at any San Diego public library, the law library, any business, any place I go, any trolley route, trolley station, bus route, bus stop, any restaurant, movie theater, post office, bank, any library, including the law library, because they're gang stalking me at the law library. Can you believe that shit? Right up the street from the mayor's office, the San Diego district attorney's office, because it's organized crime in the system that's managing this, hosting this, allowing it, and protecting it, and using the places I go into to have the employees of these businesses engage in gang stalking. And you know what they'll say after they stage an event that produces an arrest? Because this is what they do. They're called street daters and gang stalking expeditions. They literally state, Leslie, how can all these people be gang stalking you when you are saying you're being harassed by people that work there and you're the one who goes there? UCSD tried that crap. Yeah, because what is known as the community notification, which is a law enforcement tool that's supposed to be used for law enforcement, they're criminally using it for organized crime expeditions and aspirations, human trafficking being one. And you better believe these people in power will watch their ass concerning how they're illegally tracking, surveilling, and criminally harassing victims of this crime to make them feel powerless over it, to take away the resources they use to expose it, like the internet at libraries, yeah, where they're being exposed. And if you don't think cyber surveillance is not a method of gang stalking, think again. So the only thing they're doing is using these employees to stage events, harassments. They're bringing in outside people to harass me and to be participants in these staged events so they can point the finger at me, blame me for the event, ban me, or arrest me. Yes, to try and paint the picture that I'm mentally ill for what I'm claiming, or that I'm crazy, or that I'm a threat to myself or others. Because this is literally how they operate. It's attached to the motivation of why the crimes are perpetrated. They go after single women, single mothers, people on disability, in order to co-opt their finances, to exploit their insurance, Medicare fraud, and to exploit the target sexually in a syndicated run environment that the target is put in as a result of the state petitioning the courts to take legal custody of the target based on claims that they try and claim a target is delusional for what they're exposing, the truth. That's why they're picked to begin with. And they just use these avenues and templates of schemes to bring about the staged events that produce the falsified police reports, the falsified arrest, the falsified petitioning to county mental health to discredit the target, because it's the accumulated documentation that they use to take syndicated probate control. It's racketeering, human trafficking, and Medicare fraud. And this is how they do it, and this is how they operate, and these are the places they use to do it. And you better believe these places that are being used to aid and abet in these schemes for the events, the staged events, and the resulting arrest or falsified police reports or petitioning in the hospitals, you better believe that they're going to protect these places, because then these places can turn around and say, look, you solicited us to do these things, now we're being sued. Yeah, so you better believe they're going to protect these places, including the universities. Human trafficking is directly attached to these crimes, so do you really believe that these university images want to be tarnished concerning that type, nature of crime? No. What they're going to do is continue to stage these events, keep me from any kind of legal help. They can intimidate lawyers to not take targets cases. We're all over the internet. There's hundreds of thousands of targets of this crime right now all over the internet begging for help. And we can't get no help because it's organized crime in the system at the federal, state, and even military members can be involved in this crime because the technology that is being used against us came from the military. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. Please look in the description of this YouTube video for cooperating material and for proof in reference to some of the proof that's online right now that's undisputable I'm a target of this crime. So how did they know I came back to San Diego? How did they know? And here's a tidbit of information for you. In 2006, when I was out here, I made some email files describing some of the things that were happening to me. Back then, I didn't know it was gang stalking, but I did make some email files and a notary. Yeah. Now, I still got those emails, which shows the duration of this crime. So they will never make a police report concerning the fact that they're acknowledging I am a target of this crime, because it will bring the 2006 emails alive in space and time, which will show the duration of this crime, which includes torture, rape, sexual exploitation. Yes. Will it show non-consensual human experimentation? In the manifesto I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video file, I talked about a manifesto. The manifesto clearly states that these managers of these expeditions consider us targets as nothing but lab rats. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. Please look in the description of this YouTube video for cooperating material. I'm being gang stalked and harassed along all my routes. Yes. And the San Diego police are directly involved in this crime. The city's attorney's office is not doing a dang thing about it. And the district attorney's office, you would not believe how they're involved in this crime. I gotta go. I'm in San Diego. And my name is Leslie Williams. And I'm just telling you today, let's see if anything that I mentioned in this video file comes true in reference to the law library, any San Diego public library, any business I go into, any transportation route I take. If any arrests happen towards me, any assaults, any petitioning into county mental health or any nearby neighborhood hospital, it will be the direct concerted effort of this gang stalking. I'm not involved in any illegal activity whatsoever, and I am not crazy. I mind my own business everywhere I go, and my behavior is appropriate for each and every environment that I'm in and am at, for the whole duration of why I'm at these places. I'm being harassed through clever, overt sensitization methods along all of my routes, and I'm exposing it. Alright, thank you.